I've long wanted to talk to my former self. Not to give advice, although I did need a lot of that, but more just to see what kind of person I was back then. There are home videos, photos, and now there are LLMs. I used Facebook Messenger to chat with over 200 people over the past 12 years. And my conversation history stored a lot of memories, 2.2 gigabytes to be exact, of who I was back then. I wanted to use this and some ChatGPT to try to talk to my former self, because there's not a reasonable chance that I'll get to time travel. So let me show you a demo of my project, and then I'll talk about how I created it and how you can run it locally to try to talk to your former self too.
Now let's get into the demo. Right now, this is just loading data. It's taking the corpus of Facebook messages that I've sent. I'll show you how to download those messages later. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, Media Center. I obviously sent this during my public school days. Yeah, this is from 2013, but my first message was actually from 2011. It's too embarrassing for this video. I was kind of weird back then, and I'm still weird. So now what this is doing is through a chain of actions, I asked ChatGPT to analyze the messages I sent people year over year, and this is analyzing how my tone and writing style has changed over time. For example, in the past, there are points where I would mix formal and informal tones together interchangeably, and as time progressed, I became more casual with my writing, maybe more friendlier, enthusiastic, I don't know, but it's interesting to read about. Now I am actually talking to ChatGPT's version of my former self. It takes a while for the chatbot to be created. I'm cutting out and speeding up parts of this video so that you don't have to watch all of it. This is 2015 me. Yeah, I do like baking. What this is doing is it's taking the chat messages I've sent on 2014 and 2015, and it's basing its responses off of those. And it's also trying to mimic the writing style I had back then. Right now it sounds like I'm very excited and that I'm really passionate about things. So let's look at 2020. So I was expecting this project to be fun, but I wasn't expecting it to be quite so emotional. I actually felt something when I read this and was talking to my past self and hearing my past self say, "Let's both go out there and make this year one to remember." I made it so that it's easy to go through multiple iterations of this to see how different versions of yourself, I guess, would behave differently. Finally, let's look at the chatbot for the 2023 me. And again, the prompt is using messages that I've sent in 2023 to try to mimic the current version of myself. Yeah, ChatGPT is pretty accurate on my goals. It's kind of funny. Now, I might have written something similar to that, but I think ChatGPT just wrote it pretty well. Probably better than I would have written it. And I don't know why I asked if they wanted advice. I'm not turning this into an advice video. Okay, moving on to this part, I'm going to see which of my friends, based on the messages they sent, have a writing style most similar to mine. And before I sent data to the ChatGPT API, I scrubbed it of all the names and personal identification information, so it'll protect the privacy of the people sending these messages. See, this is saying that person 3727 is the one with the most similar writing style to mine. And if I wanted to, I could find out who that is exactly. Now, this is interesting. This is a plot of how many messages I send per day on average, month over month. And I think it's interesting to see the shape of it increasing and decreasing very dramatically. Like I could see in 2020 there was a huge spike, probably because I was trying to coordinate people buying my furniture and seeing my apartment before I try to move out, and just handling a lot of chaos with the pandemic. But there are other periods where there's a spike, and I want to go back and see like what happened during my life at that point that made me start messaging a lot more frequently. And that's it. The implementation starts with this: downloading your messages off of Facebook. To do this, go to your Facebook account settings on the web browser. Then click on download your information. And request a download. You only need specific types. Just select messages. You don't need anything else. For date range, I would choose all time. For format, make sure to choose JSON, that's important. For media quality, you can do low because we aren't using the media. And just submit the request. And that's all you need to do to get your Facebook chat history for this. So now I will talk to you about the repo. The repo is called A Chat with Yourself. Right now, the The README is pretty bare bones, but I will update it after this video. So the main meat of it happens in main.py. We have the store folder, which will hold your input, prompts, and responses. Note the globals file. You'll need to update this with your OpenAI key and the file path to your input file. The input file being the Facebook messages that you downloaded. And just follow these instructions. They're pretty straightforward. I'd love to see any results you get if you want to share them with me. Inside the prompt file, there are functions to give you prompts and to send those prompts to ChatGPT to conduct an analysis on your chats over time. So it does this in a chain of steps. It will ask ChatGPT to summarize messages for a particular sender for a particular year, and then take those groupings and then write a larger analysis on how the behavior has changed over time. When we're looking at the change in writing style over time, we also want to consider the fact that different conversations will require different writing styles, and this analysis prompt will make sure that ChatGPT considers the full range of styles that one has in all the conversations they have that year. The analysis prompt to get which of your friends has the most similar messaging style to yours is somewhat similar to the year-over-year analysis prompt. The main file will import some other utility functions. It will run all this code, and for the chatbot portion, there's this while loop so that we can seamlessly transition from one chat to another. Once you are done with one chat, it will prompt you to ask if you would like to chat with a different chatbot. Now I want to talk about how these chatbots actually work. Remember, the chatbot is supposed to be a representation of your former self, how your former self would speak, and what your former self would say to you if you were in a conversation with them. To cover how your former self would speak or the manner in which they speak, each chatbot has a prompt that gives them a summary of their writing style and their tone and character. This description actually comes from the previous analysis that we did on the writing styles year over year. As to what the chatbots will say, it will use a context memory from the previous 2 years. So if you're chatting with a version of yourself from 2015, it'll use memories from the chat history from 2014 or 2015. This makes it actually like you're talking to a version of your past self, because it'll provide relevant details from the actual chat history. In order to do this efficiently, because we have limited space in the chatbot's prompt, we'll use a retriever and OpenAI embeddings so that we can condense a large amount of information into a small vector. And this retriever uses Feist to get the relevant vectors and to retrieve the information relevant to answering the question very efficiently. The implementation of the chatbot relies on LangChain, and this was adapted from chatbots in the Data-Driven Characters repo by Michael Chang.
Thanks for watching. I put my code in a link in the description. You can build on this, run it, improve it, whatever. Also, share it with your friends so that you can learn about their chat behavior. I hope this has helped you learn more about who you were over the years, how you've grown, and who you are now. I might post more videos about improvements to this, so be sure to subscribe so that you can stay up to date. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.